Welcome to Storytime with Reesa, Express Edition.
Preview.
Hey guys, and welcome to Storytime with Reesa, Express Edition. Listen, I'm all cozied up over here because I have spent the last few days while I've been cooking and cleaning, catching up on the viral TikTok series, Who Did I Marry? By the girl, I think Reesa Teesa is her name. If you haven't heard her story, go hear her story. And I just wanted to come on here with a Storytime Express Edition because, I'm not really always into random TikTok, viral, whatever. And I heard about it. I started seeing posts about it. And then I started watching episode 1. It's a 52-part series. Now, granted, each episode is only 10 minutes, but who has the time? I guess I do. I sure made that time. I mean, I was up to 1 o'clock in the morning at one point just listening to it. And I was like, I gotta get through this. I have to get through this because once I started episode 1, this is what I'm here for. This is literally what I'm here for. I'm here for the stories, not the drama, not the tea, not to hear the negativity. It's people's actual real life stories. And I just came on here to say 3 things because I am seeing that there are a lot of people bashing her. There's a whole lot of love and support, but you always got the bashing group, right? Oh my gosh, girl, you crazy? How you ain't see that? Or, oh my gosh, why are you sharing this business? You should keep this to yourself. I applaud this woman. I applaud this woman for sharing her story. There's 3 things that I think about when I finish this 52-part series. And at one point I got a little oh. You know what I'm saying? Because her story was real. She didn't come here for the gimmicks. She didn't come here for the viral. She came here to share her story, and she says this over and over again in hopes that someone would hear her story and if they're potentially in a similar situation, wake up and be inspired and encouraged to run, right? And this goes for females or males, right? It is hard out here in this world, especially in these 2020s of dating. It's crazy. And the 3 things that came to my mind, this is Express Edition. So like I said, I'm not going to be before you long. Number 1, red flags. Ooh, child. And red flags, they're out there, not just in romantic relationships, in any business relationships, friendships, family. Red flags are out there. And I just wanted to say, my number 1 thing I wanted to say is God is speaking. God is always speaking. And I think sometimes there is so many things that can distract you from hearing what God is saying. And he's always a still, small voice. He ain't gonna scream at you. He ain't gonna yell it out. But many times, if you're willing to listen for his voice, you'll hear it. But many times we're not really listening. One of the things that she said that kind of touched my heart is she said, I thought it was my turn. Now, for those of you that don't know what this is about, it is about a young woman who got involved with a man that she met on a dating app, and everything about him was a lie, period. There was it sounds like there's more to him, mentally, sounds like even as a child, his family doesn't even mess with him. But bottom line is she was sold a false dream of romance, of love, of marriage. And it took her a while to come to terms with that reality. And how many of us honestly say we could have been it? Like I said, it doesn't have to always be in romance. How many of us can honestly say we've been there? We've been there. Where we just don't come to terms. You may love something or someone so much that it is so hard to face the reality of what this thing or person brings to you, which many times is toxic. And it was just such an inspiring series to watch. I gotta be honest. It was real. It was raw. Like I said, no gimmicks. And it was inspiring. And like I said, the number one thing that I wanted to say is God is speaking. And sometimes we see those red flags, and because we want something so bad and we've been waiting our turn, and we make it so that this is it. We're like, okay, God, I don't know. Because I know sometimes when you're waiting for something, the enemy will also send packages that look similar to what you're waiting for. So you've got to be very discerning. And one of the things that I loved about this is, like, you know, it brought the revelation that we may see these red flags. We may say, that's not really red. It's giving magenta. That's a magenta flag, which means I can stick it around and I can, just fix this. I can make this work. I can make a magenta flag work, and it's like, no, that's a red flag. And I love how she said it was like the United Nation of red flags. You can have so many flags thrown in your face. God is constantly telling you to run, to stop, to exit stage left. But because we're so focused on, I really need this, I really want this, we miss it and we get ourselves in a situation. And it's very hard to dig yourself out of that situation. I just wanted to come on here and encourage you. For those of you that have watched her series, if you haven't, go check it out. Like I said, it's on TikTok. I don't know if she's like transitioned it over to Instagram. I don't know. I watched it on TikTok. Her name is like Reesa, Teesa. And I don't know how long the series is gonna be up, but I just finished it. And again, I just was encouraged to let you guys know, like, the Lord is speaking and the flags are there, and don't try to ignore them. Sometimes we try to say, oh, we don't want to give up. I just got to keep on, or I've already put so much energy into this. I don't want to let it go. I understand. But sometimes you have to acknowledge the red flag. Don't try to say it's a different color. Don't try to say it's white. It's a little pink. It just was washed in the wrong load. No, it's a red flag. It's a red flag, and exit stage left. The second thing I wanted to say in this Storytime Express edition about Who Did I Marry series was giving yourself the grace that when we miss the red flag, whether on purpose or not, give yourself the grace when you're finally willing to relinquish that to God and surrender and say, you know what? I'm ready to deal with reality. I'm ready to deal with the truth of the situation. And sometimes we spend so much of ourselves, like even in one of her episodes, she was just like, if I could just go back and speak to myself in the past. And we get stuck there like, why was I so stupid? Why did I do that? Why did I stick around? Why did I wait? Why was I patient? Why did I go? We beat ourselves up. But I loved in how strategically and clearly she articulated her story. There was grace for herself. And even as the bashing came from some people, she was able to say, no, you're not going to bring me to that place. And I encourage you to do the same. Don't let people try to bring you to a certain place where you've already given yourself grace. You've already forgiven yourself, and people are trying to hold you there. And the last thing I wanted to say is, this is the importance of telling your story. Tell your story. You know I had to come on here after this because you don't know who it's going to affect. And there are going to be people that are very uncomfortable by your story. They are going to be like, how could you put this out? This is your business. If the Lord has given you a release to tell your story, I implore you to tell it. Those are the three things. Understand that God is speaking. Give yourself grace when you miss it. And number 3, tell your story. Help somebody else out there, because I'm telling you, don't underestimate the power of what you've been through and how it can help someone else today. So that's just what I wanted to say. I have so much more to say about it, but I don't want to get like so deep into it. I just wanted to come on here with the Storytime Express edition that's why, you see me, I couldn't even get my makeup on. I just had to run to this after I finished that episode to encourage you guys that if you're in a situation and you're trying to figure out and you've been feeling that nudge, I need you to know that God is always speaking. You just have to be willing to listen, to open your ears and listen. And number 2, give yourself grace. When you look back and say, man, I really wish I listened sooner. Man, I really wish that I just didn't give this so much energy, time, attention. Just trust God. Allow him to take you through the healing process. It ain't gonna be easy. We still have to pay for a lot of those consequences of times where we just kind of just ignored the Holy Spirit, but trust him. Trust him. Allow yourself, don't keep yourself in a place where the Lord Jesus already died on the cross for that. Don't keep yourself there. And lastly, tell your story. There's so much power in that. And I just wanted to big up, kudos, I don't know her actual name, but Reesa Teesa on TikTok. I just wanted to big her up as a woman to share all of that. And just even to see some other women that are like, how could you, I would have been out. Child, let me tell you, there are so many women that don't share their stories. They're still ashamed or they're still afraid. And I'm not bashing those women. Maybe it's just not time or they're not at a level of maturity to be able to articulate their story. So I big her up for being able to share the reality of the fact that we live in a world where God is speaking and it's so easy to miss those red flags or mistaken them for another color. It's so easy to beat yourself up and not give yourself grace. And it's so easy to stay quiet and not tell your story. So I just wanted to encourage you guys today on Storytime Express with Who Did I Marry? Think about that. And again, that doesn't just go for romantic relationships. That's for on your job, there can be red flags. In platonic friendships, there can be red flags. In family, there can be red flags. In simple things that God is asking you to do, he is like sometimes telling you to halt, stop, exit stage left. Okay? And many times we miss the mark. I've missed the mark so many times. And I am so grateful for God's grace that he's allowed me to come back up, to get back up again and again and again and again until I can get it right. And until I can get to a place where he's like, now you tell your story. Okay, so somebody else doesn't have to go that far next time. So big ups to her. Check out the TikTok series on Who Did I Marry? And just be encouraged. I know sometimes the red flags come at an inconvenient time. They come at an inconvenient place. There are certain flags where God is just cheering you on and he's like, yeah, keep going. But there's certain flags that are red. They are not the white keep going flags. So do not mistake in the color and ask God for the strength for you to leave, because many times, why didn't you just leave? That takes courage. That takes strength sometimes to just leave a situation, to leave a relationship, especially when, again, it's something you've been waiting and praying for. And you're just like, I'm gonna make this work. And God is like, this ain't it. All right, so be encouraged. Storytime Express. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Be sure to share, subscribe, like. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm about to get cozy again and just see if there's any updates. But I just wanted to come on here and encourage you with that. Share your story, guys. It's so important. Everything about who you are is so important, and you are so loved. So don't underestimate the power of your story. See you guys soon.